Shalom. First, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Yeah, just wanted to go in on this thought, all right, concerning what to do, all right, or what mindset to be in when faced with death, which is something that we talk about every now and then, okay, but it's all a balance. Okay, now, as of right now, being honest with it is easier said than done. It's easy to say that when the time comes, hey, I don't plan on, taking a chip. I plan on dying, for this truth. But the mindset that you have now compared to, the way you're thinking when you're actually seeing death in your face are two different things. Now, going into, the times that we're coming into where death could come from any angle, you want to make sure concerning these mandates that they're going to bring. Your best bet is to make a decision now, make a stance now. Okay, because like I've said before, it's easier to stand by something you've said than to make a decision in the heat of the moment. Okay, because as of right now, you're able to really weigh things, all right, and make that correct decision, all right, and then you stand by it and reinforce that, okay, when the time comes. But if you say, I don't know, I'll wait till it happens. Guess what? When you're in the face of death or pain or suffering or fear, you're not gonna be able to weigh things evenly. You know, the scale is gonna be tipped. All right, more so because fear is gonna be overwhelming your correct sense of judgment. So it's best to make that decision now that you're not gonna take the chip, that you're not gonna take the vax. You stand by it. Okay, now going back to the topic at hand, I'm going to go through this chapter here to give us, all right, some encouragement and some exhortation, all right, as to the kind of mindset we should carry. Okay, now this is in the book of Second Maccabees, the seventh chapter, and at this time, all right, you had I believe it was Antiochus Epiphanes, all right, who was the king at this time, all right, and we were basically subject under the Greeks. Okay, and what he would do is he would every month on his birthday he would have, all right, Jews, all right, come and keep the feast of Bacchus, and force them to eat, pork and abominable foods and so on and so forth. Force them to worship these Greek gods and so on and so forth. To the point where they were doing a lot of brutal things, man. All right, putting old men to death. All right, throwing women, all right, killing them, hanging their babies, all for circumcising them. And you think they're not going to be doing things like that and worse now? I mean, the scriptures say now will be a time like never before. So even the things we read of in the past, what's going to happen now won't compare to that. All right, so let's begin. So Second Maccabees chapter 7 verse 1, it says, "It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh." Because the king's law, all right, and our law are two different things. Okay, and so they were compelled against our law, all right, to taste swine's flesh because it's against the law. You're not supposed to eat pork. All right, it says, and were tormented with scourges and whips. Okay, so they got beaten. All right, now that's how it began. That's the first part. Okay, scourges and whips. Okay, now let's actually look up scourges. All right, it says here a whip used as an instrument of punishment. All right, as you can see, um, let's look up images. Okay, but as you can see a picture here, all right, of this individual's back. All right, he's been whipped so much. All right, this is what his back looked like. Okay, so just for the visual, it says verse 2, but one of them that spake first thus said. Now remember, it was 7 brothers, right, and their mother. It says, one of them that thus spake first said thus, what wouldest thou ask of or learn of us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. So it's like you whipping us and all of that. What you want us to do? Like whatever it is you're expecting from us, we're ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Then the king, being in a rage, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot. Okay, which forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the utmost parts of his body, and the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. All right, so imagine you being this first brother, all right, having your tongue cut out. Let me give you a little example. If you talking or you chewing and you bite your tongue, you see how that hurts? You know? Or you drink something hot and you burn your tongue. You see how that hurts? Now imagine your tongue being cut out of your mouth. Okay? And then your utmost parts of your body, your limbs, your fingers, your toes, okay, being cut off. Well, and now imagine you being the mother or the brother, all right, watching your brother go through that, knowing that you about to go next. It says, now when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire and to be fried in the pan. So they had to have had, like, a large human-sized pan or something like that. All right, man, imagine that, being fried in a giant pan. It says, and as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus. So he basically fried him to death. You know. It says, man, these devils, they're gonna pay, man. It says, the Lord power looking upon us, and in truth hath comfort in us, as Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declaring, saying, and he declared, saying, and he shall be comforted in his servants. All right. So what? They were exhorting each other. All right, exhorting their mother as well. Okay, that look, we got to go through this, but remember, man, that the Most High is witnessing all this. All right, He's witnessing how far we're willing to go for Him. It says, so when the first was dead after this number, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his hair, so they basically scalped him, all right, pulled the hair off of his head. Now, this is, we're reading it and it sounds fast, but this is over a period of time. This isn't just a quick 2-second process, okay? Imagine your hair being pulled, all right, out of your scalp, okay? Not cut, pulled. It says, they asked him, wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? And this is all, part psyop to try and, put fear in them, all right, so that they can break. But understand that the average individual wouldn't be able to stand this strong. The reason these brothers and their mother were able to stand so strong is because they had the spirit on them. Same reason Yahushua was able to stand so strong in his hour of temptation, as he went through his beating and suffering, is because the Lord had put a strong spirit on him to endure. Okay? And we're going to need that same spirit. See, when the Lord said, he's going to keep us in the hour of temptation, that means that he's going to give us a spirit to be able to go through things that we otherwise wouldn't be able to go through. So what the Lord did was, in this sense, he kept these brothers and their mother in this hour of their temptation. All right. Now, they still went through it, but he gave them the strength to be able to go through it. It says, verse 8, but he answered in his own language and said, no, all right, more than likely, which he was speaking Hebrew, all right, la'ah, or no, wherefore he also received the next torment in order, as the former did. And when he was at last gasped, he said, thou like a fury takest us out of this present life, but the King of the world shall raise us up, who have died for his laws unto everlasting life. So what's that about? That's reincarnation. Okay, so they understood reincarnation, and that, guess what? Even that comforted him. The thought of reincarnation is a comforting thought as well. So you got these people trying to teach against it and all that. Well, guess what? There's some scriptures where people understood that, hey, we're gonna be able to come back. The Lord's gonna bring us back at the end. all right, for everlasting life. So whatever we got to go through now is worth it. It says, after him was a third made a mocking stock, and when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hands manfully, because he already knew the process, and said courageously, these I had from heaven, and for his laws I despise them, and from him I hope to receive them again. So he said, look, look, man, you could cut out this tongue, you could cut these hands off, man. It was given from the Lord anyway, okay? And I'm going to receive them from him again. Verse 12, and so much that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pains. Okay? Now, if you really process it in your mind, pain is something that you're gonna feel regardless. Okay? Pain, it's not that pain is something you're gonna feel, and your body has a natural reaction to pain. But the Lord can override your body with your spirit. Okay? For example, when you're able to, for example, how you think some of the men of old were able to fast for so long? Okay? Under normal circumstances, your body would give out. Okay? But when your spirit overrides your body, your spirit is in control to where you don't even feel the whims and the attributes of the flesh. All you feel is just being locked into the spirit. So it's sort of like a numbness. That's why you're able to go days without eating, all right, and you're still fine, you know? And that also helps with pain. You can use Stephen as an example. See, as Stephen was getting stoned to death, you wonder why he wasn't complaining about the pain, why he was mainly focused on Yahushua. It's because his spirit had overridden the flesh. So pain being an attribute of the flesh wasn't really felt because he was locked into the spirit all the way. All right. Same thing with these brothers. That's how he was able to receive his torments or tortures courageously, regarding nothing of the pains. All right, because his spirit was already in overdrive. Now, when this man was dead, also they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. So when he was ready to die, he thus said. Now, remember, this whole process is taking a toll on those that are left, because you're seeing your brothers go through this. Number one, they're your brothers, but number two, it's also supposed to be a fear tactic, you know, to where each brother that goes, the next gets more scared, or is supposed to get more scared, all right, in anticipation of how painful it's going to be, of what's going to happen to him, and blah, 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 blah. But once again, because the spirit is strengthened not only their body, but it strengthened their mind, okay? Their desire for to please the Lord far surpassed their fleshly desire to live, all right, or to not feel pain. Okay, so it says, so when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good being put to death by men, to look for hope from the Most High, to be raised up again by him. As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. Okay, now does that mean that Antiochus Epiphanes was not going to be reincarnated? No. All right, he is going to be reincarnated. But when you go into it, at the end of the day, when he comes back through his different incarnations, especially in this time period, all right, and we get his ass, man, him and his whole race ain't gonna get that life that these heathens are gonna get, all right, after that 1,000-year period. They're gonna be put in slavery for 1,000 years, and they're gonna be exterminated. So really, their quote unquote hope or inheritance, they ain't got nothing. It's destitute. All right. It says, afterward they brought the fifth also and mangled him. Then looked he unto the king and said, thou hast power over men, thou art corruptible, thou doest what thou wilt, yet think not that our nation is forsaken of the Most High. All right, don't think the Most High is forsaken us, but abide a while and behold his great power, how he would torment thee and thy seed. And that was a prophecy. That was a prophecy because Antiochus Epiphanes was tormented, okay, upon his death. The Lord had it to where, as he was riding back, okay, he got hit with a plague to where his body started to break down and decompose while he was alive, to where he had a horrible stench, and you had worms eating him from the inside out while he was still alive, going through all that pain. So that was really a prophecy that that brother had made, because the Lord did torment Antiochus and his seed. Okay? It says, after him also they brought the six, who being ready to die said, be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our power. Therefore marvelous things are done unto us. And there's a precept for that. All right, I believe it's in the book of Micah 7 verse 9. It says, I will bear the indignation of the Lord, because I have sinned against him. Until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me, he will bring me forth to the light, and I shall behold his righteousness. See, so that's the mindset that these brethren were in. All right, like he said, he was basically bearing the indignation of the Lord, all right, for us having sinned against him. Verse 19, but think not thou that takest in hand to strive against the Most High, that thou shalt escape unpunished. But the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, she bare it with a good courage, because of the hope that she had in the Lord. Now, what mother do you think will be able to do that? You know, what mother wouldn't break upon just the first son being tortured? Please stop, no, 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 and then try to convince the rest of the sons, just eat it. Because when you compare the two, your brain will start to try and make it seem like, yo, it's just pork, it's just all you gotta do is just taste it, just eat it. And you don't gotta go through all this pain. Why are you doing this most, and all you gotta do is just one thing. But when you think like that, you're not thinking spiritually. What are the consequences of just that one lick, just that one taste? All right. It's not just that simple action, but behind that action is a great disobedience, all right, to our power, to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The same one who is in control of whatever's happening to you right now. And the Lord, and if you have the spiritual mindset, you can perceive that the Lord is doing that. He puts us through certain things, okay, and he turns up the heat because, yeah, you may say that you have faith, you may pray, you might pray for something, or you might be in a situation and you might pray, okay, and the Lord might turn up the heat even more, because he wants to test you to see, okay, well, you prayed and you said you have faith that I'm going to hear your prayer and answer it, but do you really have faith? Do you really believe that I'm still going to answer your prayer even though things are getting worse after you pray for them? The Lord will do certain things like that to really test your faith, man. Okay? And see, what do you do when you're under pressure? Do you cleave onto him? Do you turn around and get mad at him? Do you know what I'm saying? What do you do? Nonetheless, going back to the topic at hand, okay, this family definitely had a spirit on them, man. This is an example, all right, that even through all these torments that they were going through, the spirit of the Lord was still stronger than the flesh. That's why they were able to go through it, man. Because no mother, all right, on a regular, just regular, is going to be able to go through something like this, man. Let's keep going. It says, but the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, she bare it with a good courage, because of the hope that she had in the Lord. See how powerful this truth is? Okay? It says, yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. She said unto them, so she basically went against her nature, all right, to be able to keep the faith and stand firm, all right, and trust in the Lord, encouraging her sons, man. As she's suffering by seeing them suffer, she was still encouraging them. Okay? Strength, man. It says, I cannot tell. And meanwhile, you had men who were so cowardly that they had basically given up and joined the side of the heathen. It says, I cannot tell how ye came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you. But doubtless the Creator of the world, who formed the generation of man, and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as ye now regard not your own selves for his law's sake. See, as the scriptures say, matter of fact, let's get that. Um, all right, Matthew 16 and 25. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. Okay? And so as you were saying, man, look, your life, okay, your body, whatever you're losing now, I didn't give it to you. You were formed in my womb, but I'm not the one who gave you limbs and life. I just carried you. But the one who did give it to you, the Most High, who created man, okay, is going to give you this life back again. Because what you're doing is a selfless act. You're sacrificing yourself. You're making yourself a living sacrifice for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay? Showing the Lord that you're willing to give up everything that you have for his namesake. You could give up a car, but you could get it back. You could give up a house, and you could still have somewhere to live. But once you give up your life, it's gone. Okay? Once you lose an arm, you're not growing it back. So the Lord is testing you to see, okay, are you willing to give up something that you can't get back right now for my sake? And that's the position that, some of us are gonna be in. Okay? And at that point, the question is, are you gonna stand or are you gonna break? All right, that's when you're really gonna see what you're made of. Verse 24. Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised, and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and happy man if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friends and trust him with affairs. So basically saying, look, man, they tried the torture and the fear approach. Now he's trying the sellout method. Yo, look, man, I'll give you all this money. You ain't got to suffer. I'll give you status. I'll give you rank. I'll give you all of that. All you got to do is just turn. And if you're spiritual, you can see that this is really just the Lord giving Satan permission to come and test you. Because why does a heathen care so much about you breaking your laws? Of all things, why is that so important to him? Why specifically are they coming after your faith so much? Of all things, I mean, you could torture me for anything, but you're willing to go to the extent of torturing or bribing or making me sell out, all just so I can disbelieve in my power. That's how you know it. It's a specific, in the spirit, it's set up. It's to test your faith, man. Because on average, why the hell does a heathen care? Why the hell does he care? Because if he has you to be obedient to him, but you can still keep your laws, so long as you're obedient to him, that should be enough for him, right? But no, he wanted specifically for them to give up the faith in the Lord. That's how you know it was Satan who was using him, trying to sift them, trying to break their spirit and their trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, like in the situation with Job. Because if not, why would he be so pinpoint specifically on them breaking the law, on them eating pork? Why are you trying so hard? And there's that one thing that they want, and that's to break your faith of all things. It says, verse 25, but when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, the king called his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life. So now he went to the mother, telling her things. Hey, look, that's your son, right? That's your last one. All of them are gone. It's just him. Now, if you love your son, tell him, convince him. So Satan jumped on Antiochus, then he's trying to jump on the mom and trying to do everything in his power, because now it's just two of them. It's just the last born and the mother. Okay, so he's trying his best. I ain't trying to lose this bet. I'm trying to get him. So he's turning up the heat. It says, verse 26, and when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. So he said, "Oh, okay, all right, I'll talk to him." But she bowing herself toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn. All right, so she basically bowed and she started laughing. Spake in her language, or in her country language, on this manner: "O my son, have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee such 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured the troubles of education. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth and all that is therein, and consider that the Most High made them of the things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise. Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. All right. So she wasn't going to discourage him, man. All right. Now, like I said, what mother, okay, what mother, like how much strength do you have to exhort your son to go and, to stand so strong that he has to actually lose his life, man? How painful you think it was for her to even say those words, but it was through what? The Spirit. It says, while she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses. So he said, what you waiting for? You know what I'm saying? Like, you, what, you got other plans or something? Because I'm not breaking the laws of my fathers. It says, and thou that hast been the author of all mischief against Hebrews shall not escape the hands of God. For we suffer because of our sins. And though the living Lord be angry with us a little while for our chastening and correction, yet shall he be at one again with his servants. But thou, O godless man, and of all other most wicked, be not lifted up with a cause, nor puffed up with uncertain hopes, lifting up thy hand against the servants of the Most High. For thou hast not yet escaped the judgment of Almighty Power, who seeth all things. See, they were going through that not because Antiochus really had any power, but just because the Lord chose him to use as a vessel to punish Jake. All right? And it's the same thing that's going to happen now. Verse 36, for our brethren who have suffered a short pain are dead under the Most High's covenant of everlasting life. But thou, through the judgment of the Most High, shall receive just punishment for thy pride. See, basically he told him there's going to be a difference between the way we died and the way you're going to die. See, we died for a righteous cause and we're going to get blessed for that. But you're just going to go through that pain and suffering, and there's going to be nothing that can get you through it. Because why are you suffering this pain? It's not for a greater good. There's no motivation that's going to keep you through it. You're just suffering it because you're a damn demon, and it's punishment for your pride. Verse 37, but I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers. See, when you look at it in the mindset of, you're doing this for the Lord, and not necessarily like, oh my gosh, I'm about to die and all just because I don't want to take a chip. No. When you think of it as, you know what, if the Lord requires this of me, then so be it. As Job said, though he slay me, yet will I maintain my trust in him. It's easier. It's almost as though, hey, after everything the Lord has done for us, this is the least that I could do for the Lord. You always think about it like sometimes, the Lord does things for you and you think like, damn, there's no way to pay the Lord back. Like what can you actually do to pay the Lord back? Well, hey, if he requires your life, that's the least you could do. Yahweh Shai gave up his life for us, So the least you could do is look, I could give up something that I can't get back, something that most people would be too afraid to give up. Well, I, such a faithful servant that I'm willing to do it. All right. It says, verse 37, but I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers, beseeching the Most High that he would speedily be merciful unto our nation, and that thou by torments and plagues mayest confess that he alone is God. And this is prophetic because it did happen. And matter of fact, all right, I'm gonna pull that up and we're gonna go to it afterwards. Okay. It says, and that in me and my brethren the wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon our nation, may cease. Then the king, being in a rage, handled him worse than all the rest, and took it grievously that he was mocked. So this man died undefiled, and put his whole trust in the Lord. Last of all, after the sons, the mother died. Let this be enough now to have spoken concerning the idolatrous feasts and the extreme tortures. All right. But let this be an exhortation to us, okay, that no matter what we might go through or what we might be faced with, man, we got to stand firm. As these brothers and their mother stood firm, and you might think of it as such a little act of not eating pork, but it goes a long way, man. Okay? And the Lord honored this family for that. All right? Because what they did is something that it's rare. Not everybody can do that, man. Okay? But that is true faith, man. Okay? Now, let's get that account. Yeah, I think it might be second Maccabees, the ninth chapter. Let me see. Yep, I think it's the ninth chapter. Here it is. This is second Maccabees chapter 9, verse I'll start at verse 1 and I jump down. It says, about the time came Antiochus with dishonor out of the country of Persia. And I'm just going to jump down. It says, now when he was come to Ecbatane, news was brought him what had happened unto Nicanor and Timotheus. Then swelling with anger, he thought to avenge upon the Jews the disgrace done unto him by those that made him flee. Therefore commanded he his chariot man to drive without ceasing and to dispatch the journey, the judgment of the Most High now following him. For he had spoken proudly in this sort, that he would come to Jerusalem and make it a common burying place of the Jews. But the Lord Almighty power of Israel smote him with an incurable and invisible plague. Or as soon as he had spoken these words, a pain of the bowels that was remediless came upon him, and sore torments of the inner parts. All right, as the brothers had prophesied. All right, where is it at? There it is. Verse 37, but I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers, beseeching the Most High that he would speedily be merciful unto our nation. And thou by torments and plagues. All right, what did the Lord hit him with? All right, it says the Lord hit him with an incurable and invisible plague. And what? Remediless came upon him, and sore torments of the inner parts. And as the brother prophesied, Mayus confessed that he alone is God. So what happened? Let's keep reading. It says, and that most justly, for he had tormented other men's bowels with many strange torments. Okay, and now, I'm just going to jump down to the point. All right. Okay, it says here, and as a matter of fact, we'll read it. Howbeit, he nothing at all ceased from his bragging, but still was filled with pride, breathing out fire in his rage against the Jews, and commanding to haste the journey. But it came to pass that he fell down from his chariot, carried violently, so that having a sore fall, all the members of his body were much pained. And thus he that a little afore thought he might command the waves of the sea, so proud was he beyond the condition of man, and weigh the high mountains in a balance, was now cast on the ground and carried in a horse litter, shewing forth unto all the manifest power of the Most High. So that the worms rose out of the body of this wicked man, and whilst he lived in sorrow and pain, his flesh fell away, and the filthiness of his smell was noisome to all his army. Oh, disgusting. And the man that thought a little afore he could reach to the stars of heaven, no man could endure to carry for his intolerable stink. So he thought he had gotten away with it, but no. No, man, you ain't gonna touch the Lord's servants and just get away with it. But let's jump down to the part where he acknowledges, all right, that the Most High alone, all right, is oh, here it is. It says, verse 11, here therefore, being plagued, he began to leave off his great pride and to come to acknowledge or come to the knowledge of himself by the scourge of the Most High, his pain increasing every moment. And when he himself could not abide his own smell, he said these words, it is meet to be subject unto the Most High, and that a man that is mortal should not proudly think of himself as if he were God. This wicked person vowed also unto the Lord, who now no more would have mercy upon him, saying thus. All right, basically going into how he would, set the holy, he would basically like do well unto Jerusalem. All right, but yep. I'm gonna jump down. It says here, yea, that also he would become a Jew himself and go through all the world that was inhabited and declare the power of the Most High. He was really begging for his life because the Lord humbled his ass, man. Who the hell you, man? People, you see, this is the thing. People forget who you messing with, man. This is why the Most High is long suffering, because he knows he can get you, man. The Most High knows he can get you bad, man. So that's why he's not in any rush, because he knows when he brings that judgment, everybody's gonna break, man. Okay. It says, but for all this, his pains would not cease, for the just judgment of the Most High was come upon him. Therefore, despairing for his health, he wrote unto the Jews the letter underwritten containing the form of a supplication after this manner. And then he basically goes in on it. But just as those brothers had said, he was going to be tormented. And what? And thou by torments and plagues mayest confess that he alone is God. And thus it happened. All right. So just, yeah, I just wanted to go into that. All right. Just to remind us. All right. And put us in that mindset that, hey, whatever we're faced with, man, face it with courage. All right. And just go through it. All right. As a servant of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay. Because regardless of what happens to us, man, it's a win-win so long as you maintain the faith. Okay. So make your stance now and stand and stick by it, man. All right. Don't fear, man. The Lord is going to cover us with his spirit. And once our spirit is in overdrive, there's nothing that they can do to our flesh, because they can't touch our spirit. They can only touch the flesh. All right. But when our spirit is in overdrive, man, we won't even feel the whims of the flesh. Okay. So stay strong, stay in the spirit, and keep the faith. All right. With that, I hope you were exhorted and edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.